Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sportcat's Daily Gazette. I apologize for being a few moments late. I was waiting on the other affiliates to give me airspace, if that makes sense. So, how is everyone today? It's a Monday. It's definitely a Monday for sure. It's definitely going to be one of those days. Well,
they call them dumps, big, massive dumps.
Hello, Wendell. Not speaking about you with a big, massive dump. And I will check on that here in a few minutes. Denise, hello. Good morning. By the way, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are in the parts of the world today. It is Monday, March 10th. The year is going by too quick. And it's currently a few minutes after 1 local time. And, well, it's late wherever you are. So, let's see. Denise, hello, Denise. Chris, welcome to the chat if I missed it. We will talk about the brush fires in Long Island. Yes, they were quite massive and large. So, yeah, I'm glad to know that you were 20 miles away. And last I heard, it was almost contained. You are correct, Denise. And, well, you know, there have been some arsons. The ones in the Carolinas were arson, and that's a new thing called environmental terrorism. Who knew that was a thing? So, all right, well, I hope everybody's hearing me okay, and I hope everything is set up right, because we got a lot to cover here. Goodness gracious, the world is on fire in more ways than one. It's crazy out there. So we're going to start off with some breaking news out of Europe. Let me bring the screen up. And I'm not going to be too quick to jump on this and say it could be an act of terrorism, although some other media outlets are reporting that. I am not going to do that. Let's see. A lot of people are saying that those are some of the greatest sums they have ever seen. Yes, absolutely. Chris. All right. Well, my computer's already starting off and pissing me off. First thing, locking up. All right. So there has been an oil crash. I was trying to catch some of the audio live. A jet fuel is burning on the North Sea, and there have been multiple blasts. Dozens rescued. Last count I got from the BBC, just coming on the air, there were 30 rescued, possibly 2 additional, and those 2 may be fatalities. So we know there are 32 people who have been rescued. So what we do know is that an oil tanker carrying aviation jet fuel was carrying military-grade aviation jet fuel for the United States military, was parked. It was parked in the sea. It was anchored. It wasn't moving and hadn't been moving. It was stationary. And a Portugal flagged ship, and I pulled up our relationship with Portugal, and we don't have any beef with Portugal at the moment, appears to have intentionally driven into it, which caused an explosion on both vessels, and now the ocean is burning. Many people have bailed out of the boats, obviously. They're ships. And some have been rescued. We said 32 coming on. But there's a large fire. They were on there calling for any aircraft in the area. Aircraft are any firefighting ships that could help. The problem is they're needing foam. So more than likely, this is going to have to burn out. It's going to be a huge pollution and a huge environmental disaster. So, we'll check on that before we go off the air. We are going to be 2 hours today. Before I do too much, thank you to Ross at yergsradio.com and Rainbow Radio. Of course, we are live there. Pine Island, Florida, Talk FM. We are going to be replayed there tonight at midnight Eastern. And we are also currently live on Radio X in Australia. Good day. And by the way, thank you to everybody in Australia for tuning in. I understand that we had great numbers our first week, so thank you. Everybody, please remember to come over to the YouTube channel. That's where we are live in case you missed us. Or if some breaking news goes on we decide to cover live, you can find us here on the Para Our Normal Guys, 3 words, and the guys is spelled with a Z on YouTube. Please come over, like, follow, share, and subscribe. So we're currently talking about a maritime accident. I'm not going to jump into where the other media is going. I think the BBC has already said this could be terrorism. So the ship was anchored, and the Portuguese ship rammed it, and it caused a huge fire. The Portuguese ship was a container ship, and the tanker is carrying jet fuel. It was fully loaded, aviation grade jet fuel. So, the Stena Immaculate, along with the Salon, could we say Schlong? Can we say Schlong? Were involved in a collision in the North Sea. The 183-meter long oil tanker was anchored off of Emmingham when it was struck by the 140-meter long container ship, which is en route to Rotterdam. Reports indicated the fire broke out on the Stena Immaculate. There have been rescue helicopters and, of course, sea boats, rescue boats at sea, also making rescues. As we know at this time, 32 is the count, and so we don't know if those are going to be injuries or fatalities, but we do know that it's a major maritime disaster off of the coast, and it's going to probably have to burn out. We'll check later. It's funny, they're showing X here, and that's one of our stories. X is currently down, even though X is denying it. That's one of our next stories up. It's down in the US, or at least in Atlanta, it's still down. So you can see here pictures. Looks pretty bad. I don't know what, let's see if I can click on it. It probably won't bring it up since X. No, X is back up. All right, well. Let's see if we can make this picture bigger for us. This is from the Telegram out of the UK. Yeah, it's, well, it's somewhat cooperating. Yeah, it's, that's a mess. Yeah, all that aviation fuel is going to leak out into the water, onto the water, because it's lighter than the water, and it's going to burn. It's going to require foam to put it out. No matter how much water they spray on it, that's just going to disperse it more. So that's a nightmare. I hope that okay, we couldn't really hear that. That was the harbor master calling for all hands, basically. So yeah, I wish them well over there, and I hope that they can get it under control quickly, but I suspect that it will be just burning out. Yeah, Chris, it's been that way for me on and off all day. And X, yeah, see, there we go. It's back down again. So apparently it's not down in all parts of the world. Let's see if we can hear the Coast Guard warning. Okay, I hope everybody could hear that. That was the Coast Guard issuing from the harbor master the alert. All right, let's go to our next news story. The nation's capital. Well, where did I go, and why did I go there? All right. You can't hear me now? Is that what you're saying, Wendell? You can't hear me speaking now? I'm lighting up. It appears to be going out. Hold on. All right, so you're freaking me out. Can you hear me? It looks like I'm going out. No, I'm not going out. All right, well, why is... All right. So why am I not going out? Why is it doing this to me? Okay. So Denise, thumbs up. You can hear me because it's showing I'm not going out, and I don't know why. I should be going out. So Denise says now he can hear me. Okay. I hope that okay. Wendell says you can hear me, so I'm gonna trust Wendell there. I hope that's good advice. All right, so I don't know where we left off here. We were talking about and now you can't hear me again. Hold on. Why? No, I'm going out. Okay, I don't know what's going on. It's Monday. Secret Service. The man's parked vehicle around midnight. On. Why is it locking up? I'm Wendell. It's Monday. Didn't it do this last Monday too? Maybe it's a Monday thing. All right. Well, it could be my internet. I don't know. I'm showing that I'm going out here, so everybody let me know if I'm not. Of course. I guess I could just go to my YouTube channel and turn myself on and see if. All right. So X is back on according to them, but well, New York City is, well, who cares? So X is up and down today, and maybe that has something to do with why I'm having such issues. Maybe. I don't know. Yes, Chris, this is frustrating. I agree with you. It should not be happening. So, all right. Well, yeah, I just parked myself up to see, and it is starting and stopping for no apparent reason. It should not be happening. So, all right. Well, yeah, I just parked myself up to see, and it is starting and stopping for no apparent reason. It should not be happening. So, you know, sound like Alvin the Chipmunk for some reason. I just parked myself up to see, and it is starting and stopping for no apparent reason. So, yeah, that's very weird. It's Monday. It's Monday. That's what it is. All right. So deep breath. We'll get through this. Deep breath. Too much going on for Monday. All right. So FEMA's daily briefing for Monday, March 10th at 10:20. Deep breath. Try this again. Take two. FEMA's National Watch Center's daily operation briefing. This is the same briefing that is presented to the president, except they don't give us the secret mojo stuff. Yes, Denise, Alvin is, that's for sure. And it's probably not a good sound for me. So this is as of 8:30 a.m. this morning. They say there are no significant events, although I disagree with my internet. They are monitoring heavy rain in California, heavy snowfall. That's right. We're just going to push right through to take two. Heavy snowfall in the Sierra Nevada mountains, critical fire weather in the northern plains with no new declaration activity activity. Uh, why me, God? Why me? All right, so they were making fun of my weather. Why? I thought that we were doing good with the weather forecast. Is it our way? That's right. Another massive storm. As if we didn't get enough of the wind and rain and cold, we have yet another one coming again. Let me make sure this is. Oh, well, thank you. Ross just told me it was all. Isolated off of the west coast, extending inward to Idaho, down in Arizona. All forecasts higher in higher elevations up in Idaho, Seattle, Portland, with what looks to be now that would be to be the Sierra Nevadas, but no, that's not the Sierra. That's the Sierra Mountains. There's Sierra Mountain. Yeah. Well, anyhow, California, San Diego, up along the coast to the Cascades, Cascade Mountains. There we go. Monday. Work through this. Fire weather outlook for today is forecast, and as we can see, that cold front is coming. It's going to be below temperatures on the west coast, extending to about we'll just say Midwest, and then it's going to be starting to push further south throughout the week. However, up in the New England area, it's going to be above normal. Elevated critical fire danger. Percent contained. I was thinking that was more contained than that, but they're claiming and which usually it'll tell you. Maybe come back in yesterday. Let's see. We'll look at here. No. Last I see here is nope, it does. It shows that he came back into town last night at about 8 p.m. He was back in the White House, and they put a lid on it around 8 p.m. So he came back at last night at 8 p.m. and the in-town 1400, 2 o'clock, the president holds a roundtable with technology. I wasn't sure if we were because it wasn't available. But there's nothing new here that we didn't already covered, talking about the forecast weather map. So let me come back and see if it's, yeah, I'm back. I don't understand this. Don't give up, Wendell. Don't give up. I am not giving up. It's Monday. It's Monday. So here is the current radar for the United States. You see the front on the West Coast that's going to be pushing the cold weather that's going to be coming down through the continental United States. Hop over to Australia and look at our little friend. They're calling it X cyclone now, and it's pretty much dissipated. And the problems that you are experiencing in Australia is multiple power outages. I believe over 200,000 people are without power, and that there's heavy flooding along the Gold Coast, Brisbane area, and it's going to continue for about the next 48 hours. So continue to seek higher grounds and listen to the government warnings. But for the most part, it's going to be spotty rain for just the next couple days. So hold on. You're almost through X cyclone, and hopefully you won't have to deal that. Apparently that was the storm of the century. So, all right. Air quality. I want to talk about this for two reasons, because we're going to cover what they call a dirty map here in a little bit. In the South, it doesn't look too bad. Up along the mid-Atlantic, the adult theme cyclone has dissipated. Yes, it has. And it came in wet and went out wet. We see in the middle of the country, Oklahoma, Kansas, St. Louis, all the way extending through Kentucky to the base of the Appalachia, is the air quality is not very good right now. This does not cover the mud that was in the air. Now, you remember we talked about last week, there was brush storms in New Mexico and out in the desert plains. Well, that met up with the rain and brought mud storms. And I've never heard the media say that before, but apparently when the dust in the air got with the wet moisture, it was a mud storm. I don't have any other further definition than that. You put dirt and water, you make mud, and it comes out of the air. We'll have locusts next. I don't know. What do I know? So that is our current air quality. It's not too bad. Chris, it looks like the air quality might suck where you and Casey are. Hopefully it won't get too bad. And some of this is also light density smoke. We'll see here in a minute from the fire map. And the favorite. I need to just stare at this for a while to make myself feel better about the show. Our wind map. They made fun of me on the sports show about the wind map, and apparently I was the bad guy for it. I don't understand. All right, so we see that front spinning off of the coast of California there. That's going to be what's pulling in the Pacific moisture, pushing up the California Sierra Nevada mountains, extending down over the Rockies, and then it's going to meet up with this little low up here. If you can see it, it's going to drop down into the central part of the country and meet up with that, and that's going to bring colder temperatures. And guess what? It's going to be snowing in the Northeast region before the end of the week, the Northeast Maine, Vermont area. So yes, 60 degrees. Wow. You don't need good air. Don't get greedy, Chris. Yes, exactly. You see that the front is pushing most of the moisture down through the Gulf. And this is where the rain is centrally located in lower Georgia. We're having spotty showers here in Atlanta. But the problem, and we're going to see this in a few minutes, is here in Florida, where you see these high winds. Well, with that spinning, with the cold air spinning down and warm air meeting up right over Florida, they've had some hurricane, tornado warnings. There's been no hurricanes in the United States. That season doesn't start for a little bit. But that little trough right there is pushing down, meeting up with the Gulf moisture, spinning out over Florida and causing some tornadoes. We'll see that here in a bit. We'll go over real quick and look at Australia. We'll go down under, check on them, see how their winds are doing. And it appears that ex-cyclone, I like that when they just call it, they no longer refer to it by saying that it's just like it's ex-cyclone. It's like they just cut it off. They're done with it. So it appears that over Australia, it's just mildly windy. No significant winds except maybe down along the coastline on the south side. But for the most part, it looks like it's going to be just scattered showers and light winds throughout the day. And from what I researched, do not quote me on this, I'm not a meteorologist. However, if I was, I'd still be 50% accurate either way. There's no cyclones in the immediate future, at least for Australia. There are in other parts of the world. I'm not going to talk about them, at least not yet. Okay, let's look at this real quick. I only saved this one because we'll have the other map here in a little bit to show all the different wildfires, and you see the new fires that are popping up there. This is a smoke map, but this is also because the conditions were just right. This is mud. This has also got mud in it. So there's dirt in the air. You know, as a child, I always wondered where dust comes from. I seem to know now. There seems to be a lot of fires burning. Most of them, if you note on the legend here, are prescribed, but there are some larger outbreaks, and they are worried about the critical parts of the country up in Montana and Nebraska area, extending down through Sioux Falls, Rapid City, Wisconsin, Wyoming, good Lord, Kansas. I did actually take geography for U.S. states at one point. My GED doesn't show that, though. In the South, we have several new fires. They're still showing the Carolina fire on here. There's still several burning, but the main thing I wanted to highlight on this was the smoke, and that's also mud or dirt. So there you have it. All right, U.S. wind maps. This is showing that the highest winds are pretty much coming off of the Sierra Nevada mountains down and around Denver, back up through Wisconsin. And so the highest wind speeds currently recorded, that was as of 10:32. Let's see if we can do it without crashing my computer. Get a updated one. All right, there it is, 1333. Whoa, it's increased a little bit. Yeah, the winds are pulling out of the Pacific down along Mexico, going up and extending into the Great White North, Canada, with the highest coming out over the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevada mountains. The highest wind speed recorded is currently 35.3, and the average wind across the country is 9 miles per hour. Okay, this is the reason I was not so concerned about that other map. This doesn't show the smoke. This shows the fires. This is the one from NASA that is the most, from what I can tell, the most accurate. The little dots are either small fires or yet have not been confirmed by boots on the ground as of yet. So remember when we had the one last week in Knoxville and I couldn't figure out what it was showing? It was, like I said, that the satellite was detecting a small fire, and it turned out it was just a minor fire. All right, so let's get to it. Wendell, you were talking about fire down by you. Early Cedar Springs, 114 acres, and it is 0% contained. That's down in your neck of the woods right there at Dothan, and it's on the Georgia border. There's been a small one detected just above Mobile. It's so small they won't even let me see it. Georgia's looking pretty good. The mountains, there's still been several small fires, but they're pretty much contained. So there's nothing to worry about as far as evacuations for the mountains, which is good. In fact, we see here, that's right by Douglas Dam, there's a report of a small fire, but it had no boots on the ground to it yet. French Broad River, that will be East Knox County, South Knoxville. I'd be willing to bet if we looked later, that will probably be either small fire or a structure fire. Up here in Chicago area, there's several small fires that have been detected. None of them yet have been confirmed. We extend out over across into the Great Plains. We see the high critical danger that they're worried about. And that is also down along the Texas border and New Mexico, Mexico border, where they have the high fire warnings. California, several small fires, nothing significant at this time to worry about. They did have an earthquake over the weekend off the coast of, is it San Diego? And it was only a 4, I believe. We'll check on it here in a few minutes. So that's what's burning in the U.S. Anything burning up in, no, it's in Maryland up by Andy. Well, no, actually Andy's further north. So. Come on, Chris. Come on. I disagree. I heard, no, never mind. I'm not going to say it. So I heard a reference earlier that I tuned the radio out. I was like, I'm not listening to that. All right. Going to switch over to the disaster alerts. Let's refresh this to see if I can do it without crashing my computer. This is probably going to have the recent tornadoes. And of course, the weather warning we'll hear. It may crash my computer. I don't know. The way today's going. All right. So now I want to go over here to us. It should update. All right. Well, the most recent was 42 minutes ago in Melbourne, Florida, for a tornado. And then if you look down in Lake Louise, they were worried about snow. Wow, that's not us. Volcano in Indonesia. Okay, I'm just scrolling through to, I can't sort out by view, but avalanche in Utah. That was 3 days ago. Well, that should have been since our last reporting. But most of the warnings are down here in Melbourne for tornado. There's some out in Missouri, wildfires. Those are newer wildfires. Down in Texas, that they're worried about, they're concerned about flooding with the severe weather. They're concerned about avalanches over in Utah over the weekend. And of course, the drought is still continuing up there. And close some of these little buggers. Down along the Mississippi, flooding. And who did I miss? Close you. Go up here to the Delmarva coast. They're concerned about the drought. And of course, these are the wildfires in Horry County in the Carolinas. That's pretty much it. 16 hours ago, they were concerned about a tsunami, but apparently they never made it to a full alert between us and Bermuda. There must have been an earthquake. We'll go over that in just a moment. All right. Maryland's testing again. We're going to the weather warning map. I'm going to update it real quick here. I hit the wrong button. Disregard. All right. Andy's testing his radios again in Maryland. Let's see. High wind warning in Nebraska, which we talked about, and small craft advisory in various parts of the world. Red flag warning, that's out towards the Montana region. Florida, they're concerned about tornadic activity. And I don't see any new tornado warnings, which is good because some of those storms had been pretty active down in Florida, and said that off of the coast, like Savannah area, was going to also get some tornadic activity. So I don't see any new alerts for any of that. So that's good news. That's very good news. All right. We're going to move on from this one. And Wendell, we were talking about earthquakes. The most recent one, let me update this, was in Texas. And it was, what was that one? That was at local time 10:50. So that was a few hours ago. Small 2.5 earthquake. Close that. And where was the earthquake you were asking about? The most recent one that I was aware of was, it was down in San Francisco off of the coast. It was a very small one. You were asking about a specific one, Wendell? That must be the one out off of the Greenland coast that they were concerned about with the tsunami warning that occurred yesterday. And it was a 6.5. Let's do that. Let's show only the ones on the map. And let's zoom in here. All right, so the Texas one, and there's two in Texas. There's been several small ones down off of the California coastline. Los Angeles has had several small 2.5, 3.0, 2.5, 3.3, 2.6, 2.7. And the most recent one was in Fall City, Texas, was a 3.0. This is according to the USGS, United States Geological Service. So I'm not sure if there was something shaking in Alabama that Wendell was worried about, but I don't see anything. So we will move on. All right, we're going to update this because when I first checked it, it was lit up. And see what's new. We'll start up in Milwaukee, and there was a shooting in Milwaukee. They're reporting a 16-year-old male victim, gunshot wound to the face. He is conscious and alert, and, well, they're looking for the bad guy. And this is down in Missouri, St. Louis. Heavy fire in a vacant 2.5-story brick dwelling. And they went defensive, which means they put water on it from the outside. We'll switch over going to the south. In Charlotte, North Carolina, they reported a 3-story condo with heavy fire. And that was at 0540 this morning. We'll zoom in here. It looks like there's a couple incidents and fires in the Baltimore, D.C. region. In Washington, D.C., there was a shooting on PD and fire department on the scene of a person shot, unknown condition, perp not known. That was overnight. And it looks like in west Georgia Avenue, fire PD on a person shot, unknown condition. They were looking for one male, black, wearing green shirt, blue jeans, and he fled an unknown direction of travel. If you have any information, contact the Metropolitan DC Police Department. DC Fire was busy in the 600 block of Lamont Street with a 2-story row house, and they were checking it out by opening up the roof and trying to get the fire knocked out. They also had a fire overnight in a, 2300 block south of 2300 block of G Street Northeast. Fire department reports the fire has been knocked down under control. One female removed and transported by EMS. That started as an oven fire. I did read that article earlier. That started as an oven fire, and she got burnt trying to put it out. I recently purchased, and I'm not endorsing or suggesting any products by name, but I recently purchased the Hero blanket because all of the press I've seen about it, it appears to be a good idea. However, my concerns are that you could get injured trying to put the fire out. I don't know. But I accidentally bought like 8 of them, so I'm going to give some to Mom. All right, so we're going to move up to Pennsylvania. They had a second alarm for a working house fire in North Center Township. And we'll go down to the Philadelphia region. They had a motor vehicle with entrapment over the weekend in the 600 block of Cheswick. One male victim was trapped. He was extricated and taken to the hospital. They had a stabbing in Philadelphia. We'll cover Philadelphia. There's also some activity with their new motor unit. They had a stabbing. The victim was in critical condition. One perp in custody. Good. That was this morning at 3:46 a.m. local time. Philadelphia Fire has been working all hands on a vacant house fire with a garage. All right. Well, let's hope that they all are safe. Did I just click that one? Yeah, that was what I clicked. I clicked this one. Yes. All right. So we'll go down to the coast and Delmarva coastline here and see New Jersey. They were on scene, transmitted a working fire for a structure fire. It doesn't list the on scene working fire transmitted for work house fire. House fire. All right. Continue up east. Going to get into East Brunswick, New Jersey. They had a small fire, but they got it under control with 3 hand lines. In New Jersey, they had a second alarm for a house that started at the back of the house. In Brooklyn, it's interesting, Denise, this doesn't have the brush fire on it. Denise says she thinks the fire on Long Island was caused by someone making s'mores at 9:30 a.m. She doesn't believe it because the fire started in the afternoon. Well, didn't the lady in the Myrtle Beach fire say she was just clearing out her backyard and then she just walked away and left it? All right, so Brooklyn, Neptune Avenue, they had a fire in a high rise. It doesn't say anything other than the fire was knocked down and there was nobody inside, no other injuries. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. Queens, they had multiple overheads that must have been burning fire in the roof in Queens. EMS had a MVA with EMS wasn't involved. FDNY and NYPD on scene of a personal injury. A1CI, critical incident response. One that might be a critical injury. All hands in Manhattan. And they got it under control. I don't know what this yellow one is. Let's check it out. Bronx, Southern Boulevard. FDNY's report that they have a fire under a train and request the power off. Well, yeah, you want the power off to fight that. Go back up here to Patterson, New Jersey. There was a male gunshot victim being rushed to the hospital. Unknown perp information. It's funny how it works. Ramsey, New Jersey, they had a working structure fire over the weekend. Continue further up east, we'll see what happened over here in Cambridge, New York. A one-car rollover with serious injury. 2 people were medevaced. We should see if Andy knows about that. In Andover, command reports that they had the fire knocked down and they were cleaning up. All right, we have to look at the earlier reports. I don't know what was burning. 3-acre brush fire in Lowell, Mass. And let's see, did I cover this one? Stabbing in Boston, 4000 Mystic Valley Parkway. Stabbing outside the Cambridge courthouse, 1 person transported. Outside the courthouse, that's interesting. They had a small first alarm fire in Bethlehem, and they just advised that it was a confirmed structure fire, so this would have been too large. They didn't call for extra people. Let's see. Motor vehicle collision, reported fatality, road closed, and that's in Grafton, Mass. Blackstone, Mass. A party has fallen down the stairs and they're requesting life flight, and they're going to land at the middle school. Go to the Eastern Long Island. Go to the right. I don't see anything else listed for New York. Long Island is further up this way, is it not? That's Manhattan. Yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything up there. And Denise, you can always go check this out on just go to the newenglandfirenews.net and get fairly updated information. I don't know if because of Twitter being down that might have had anything to do with this, but you can actually register to view all the recent stuff that's about to be put into the system. But I don't see anything, and I didn't get any. In fact, I didn't hear about it to the sports show, and I was like, "What are they talking about?" Because I didn't get any messages. Usually, on a big fire like that, my phone is going crazy, but I didn't even get any messages, and I was like, "Okay, that's kind of odd." All right, so did we talk about the Rochester, New York? There was a second victim located in the shooting. Denise, you are welcome. If I could, you've got my personal email address. You can shoot me a message. Anybody can shoot me a message at sportcat@protonmail.com, and I will look into stuff. All right, we're going to extend over to the West Coast. It looks like San Francisco had a first alarm fire at a 3-story private dwelling over the weekend. And down in Los Angeles, they had a well-involved commercial building over the weekend. And we'll probably talk more about that in the end, but they have that under control. So that's pretty much all the fire stuff for the United States. Let's pull up this big event map, because one thing it didn't talk about was there was a traffic incident. This is what they're calling it. It was an airplane accident. 5 injured after a plane crashed in Philadelphia. There was also a fatality plane crash, and I think that was in Pennsylvania as well. All right, so here we go. New York governor has declared a state of emergency with brush fires in Long Island. Let's view the details here. I'll click view and see what happens. There we go. Started as an outdoor fire. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency Saturday after several wind-driven brush fires broke out in New York's Long Island, sending large smoke plumes into the air. Yes, it did. And highways crews in Suffolk County responded to at least 3 major brush fires on the East End. County Executive Ed Romaine said the fires have shut down the Sunrise Highway, according to the DOT, but there was no evacuation orders, no residents in the fire's direct path of Saturday's evening fire, but at least 2 structures have burned, and crews rushing to stop fires spreading. Precautionary measures starting around 1:45. A spokesman told the AP in a press statement, "We're in a better place right now, but we are concerned about the overnight with the increase of the winds. This could be a multi-day event. Fires burning in a natural preserve, but it would not take much for the fires to jump outside." All right. And it goes on to talk about how many acres is burning in the wild area. And It's showing the fire to be right there. For some reason, I was thinking that Long Island was in a different location. I'm sorry, Denise. That's my fault. I had it totally in the wrong area. My bad. Learn my geography. All right, what do we have up here? That's going to be in Buffalo. Social incident in Canada. No, Canada. 12 people were injured in a pub. Did we report? Yeah, we reported on that over the weekend. This is in New Brunswick. Extreme rainfall in Canada. Over towards Chicago. Serial demonstrations, mass movements, protesters gathering. Oh, I didn't see this one. In Chicago for Stand Up for Science rally against research funding cuts. You mean the woolly mouse? They're protesting the woolly mouse? Come on now. What's wrong with the woolly mouse? If you don't know what the woolly mouse is, we covered that Friday. Scientists have created a woolly mammoth mouse. Extreme rainfall in Florida. They've had tornadic activity in Seminole County and further down in Okeechobee County, and they're concerned about the high winds throughout the rest of the day. One dead in Hollywood, Florida, after a social event. Okay. We'll just view the details. I think we got a few extra minutes here. One dead after shooting in Hollywood apartments, police say. An apartment became a crime scene in the Hollywood neighborhood following, this is Hollywood, Florida, a shooting that left one person dead. Area residents were shaken. Hollywood police officers responded to the call of the shooting in 6300 block of Pierce Street around 8:15 p.m. Saturday evening local time. And residents said they heard gunfire, 2 shots, 2 houses down from where they live. Said he walked outside to find police swarming the area. When officers entered the apartment, they found one person who was pronounced dead by fire rescue. When they arrived, they found the body on the floor. Said a woman and man lived there, but they didn't know much other than that. It's a bad situation that we're looking at right now. Sometimes we've got to take a deep breath and count before anything happens. There's never been anything like a shooting like this. This is crazy. Another resident told police officer. They've blocked off the neighborhood for hours. Detectives are investigating throughout the night, Saturday night. And apparently it's quite shocking to the residents, and they're still looking. If you have any information, contact the Hollywood, Florida Police Department. All right. Let's see. We covered Chicago. Yeah, we did. We covered Baltimore. Where was the other plane crash? 2 shot, 1 dead over the weekend. Shocking. And this is on the south side of Chicago. I'm trying to remember. There was another plane crash over the weekend. The pilot reported that he was returning to the airfield to make an emergency landing because a door was left open, and he missed the runway apparently by several hundred feet into an apartment complex parking lot. It was a large fireball. That was in southern Pennsylvania over the weekend. In Phoenix, 1 man is dead after an officer-involved shooting. Okay. And snow and ice damage. Let's go back and see what happened in Phoenix here. Since we usually talk about most public safety things, let's see what happened. 1 man was shot and killed in Scottsdale, Arizona on Friday night after allegedly ignoring police officers' commands at an emergency traffic stop. Said the Scottsdale police responded to the area of 400 North Scottsdale Road about 10:13 p.m. local after receiving reports on a man threatening a person with a gun. Though the man, 42 years old, was unarmed at this point, fled the scene before police arrived. He soon returned and drove his vehicle directly behind a patrol vehicle, according to the authorities. While still in his vehicle, the man reached back for a, quote, object behind him and did not follow the officer's instructions. Officer at the scene sent a service dog towards the vehicle and fired his gun, which struck the man and dog. So he shot his own dog. Other officers quickly arrived, providing aid to both gunshot victims. The man died from his injuries while the dog was transported to a nearby veterinary hospital and was returned in a stable condition. Police said there are no remaining threats and that the incident is still being investigated. All right, so they've stepped up the investigation since it's an officer-involved shooting. That's the only details. All right, so I want to go back and read this because the man drove up directly behind the police vehicles And while he was still in his vehicle, he was reaching for an object. He did not follow commands. One officer at the scene sent a service dog, which I'm assuming was a canine, in the vehicle towards the vehicle and fired his gun, which struck the man and the dog. Officers quickly provided aid to both. So did he shoot his own dog? Wow. Yeah, that needs to be investigated. Police officer shooting his own dog? Come on now. All right. Adrenaline does crazy things. I've been there. I'm not doubting him at all. Drought in up in that high fire critical danger area is what they're worried about. And high winds in Red Bluff, Canada. All right. Let's sneak down and see if there's anything in Australia besides for our good buddy Alfred, our ex-buddy Alfred. Let's see. A shark attack. That was over the weekend. Animal attack in Australia. Suspected shark attacked with a beach surfer missing. All right, well, let's look that article up. That sounds interesting. A surfer is missing after a suspected shark attack in remote Western Australia. The incident happened on the state's south coast about midday on Monday, about 80 kilometers east of Esperance Surf. Life-saving issued an alert saying a possible shark bite incident had been reported about 12:25 p.m. Officers from the department responded and are investigating. It happened at the Duke of Orleans Bay. The bay is on a remote stretch of coast next to a caravan park more than 650 kilometers east-southeast of Perth. The West Australian reported a surfer was in distress shortly after a shark was seen. A surfboard was found, but the surfer was not located, according to them. The area is popular with surfers and snorkelers and scuba divers. The nearest town is Esperance. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing wrong. Yeah, exactly, Denise. That is horribly written, and it's worse than mine. I'm sorry, that's Chris. Yeah, it is horribly written. I really would like to know more, and maybe if we have time, remind me. We will check that out. It just doesn't sound right. The severe weather has left a path of destruction, a trail of destruction. This ex-Alfred is continued to rage on. I do have, let's see, I can pull that up, I think. Come on, get over here. There we go. I do have, is this the one? No, we'll talk about that one. And then there's this one. Will it open both? Yeah, we'll go to Alfred first. There we go. So this shows, close that. This shows, this is according to the Emergency Response Coordination Center, Tropical Storm Alfred. It shows that it came ashore just north of Brisbane and that it continued inland and just kind of fizzled out. And true to its nature, it just kind of sat there. It's caused heavy rain, over 250 millimeters to much of the Gold Coast. Some areas were reporting even higher amounts. That's caused massive flooding, and rainfall is expected to continue partially throughout Monday, so and into Tuesday. So that's Alfred, and I know everybody will certainly be glad to be rid of Alfred. All right. And this I found on a world map, and I thought this was kind of cool because I'd never seen this. Wildfire activity in the Arctic region. I never really knew this was such a thing. But apparently up in the Arctic regions, they've had several hundred wildfires, and they came out with this map recently showing, you can see Canada here on the left, Greenland towards the, what would that be, about the 7 o'clock position, and you see all of the eastern Siberian Sea into Russia. How many wildfires they've actually had in that area? I was surprised at that. It just kind of took me by surprise, and I thought I wanted to show you guys that because I really wouldn't have anticipated that many wildfires in that region of the world. But apparently there's been significant wildfire activity in the Arctic region. There we go. All right, so the event map we are done with. Alfred, he is gone. Let's hope that his remnants leave everybody safe. They did have to shut down schools and airports for a period of time. I believe the airports have since opened. The schools are closed, and many businesses are still closed at this time in Australia. All right. Go to the global disaster. Let's refresh this and see. There we go. This is going to be talking about the offshore earthquake. Earthquake was 6.5, and it was offshore. This is the one off of the California coast. That's the most recent one. All right. I'm done with you. Go away. Tropical storm Jude, which is a thing right now. And droughts in Iran. And that's pretty much it for, besides for the flooding in Madagascar, Colombia, Ecuador, Argentina. Of course, we've noted Australia, Spain, Morocco, Algeria, Malaysia, Peru, Indonesia, and South Africa have all had some significant rains and flooding. The most recent earthquakes, of course, have been off the coast of the California coast, 2 in Japan and 1 in Chile, 6.1 in Chile. All right, that's it for that one. This here is talking about the dirty rain. Residents from Missouri to West Virginia reported waking up to find their vehicles and outdoor surfaces coated with a grimy film following rain showers. A massive dust storm in Texas, remember we discussed that, in parts of eastern New Mexico led to an unusual weather event known as dirty rain. And I heard them calling it mud rain. Dust storms in the regions are becoming more common due to the prolonged droughts, which we discussed. And when these storms coincide with the precipitation, it mixed in. And it's an inconvenience for residents, but a potential health concern is inhaling fine dust particles can cause respiratory issues. I noted hearing one reporter talking about she had not been able to wear her contacts in several days because of it. The dust storm hits parts of Texas and New Mexico last week when dry conditions and intense wind gusts create a massive cloud of airborne debris, like we discussed. And the New York Post said that residents in affected areas woke up to find their vehicles covered in a thick brown residue. Some social media users described the scene as crazy, gross rain and speculated about the cause before meteorologists confirmed the source. Yes, they were saying that the government was spraying them. Strong winds carried fine particulates into the atmosphere, which then mixed with the precipitation and fell as grimy precipitation across the Midwest and East Coast, leading to reports of dirty rain in Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia. So there you go. We talked about how the wind was coming down and the dust storms are down here. They met up with the condensation, and it traveled across the mid-Atlantic region and the northeastern Atlantic region, leaving dirty rain. What is dirty rain? Known as mud rain, occurs when airborne and dust pollutants become suspended in rain clouds and fall back to the grounds with precipitation. It happens when strong winds lift soil and fine particulates, dust storms, carrying them long distances before they are deposited by rain. While the phenomenon is not uncommon, its severity depends on the amount of dust present in the atmosphere. In extreme cases, dirty rain can reduce air quality, visibility, creating additional hazards for motorists and those with respiratory conditions. Side note, it's horrible for aircraft. And you see here a picture of somebody that woke up and they had the dirty rain. In the South, it's kind of hard to tell because we have the yellow rain, which is the pollen. If you've ever experienced the pollen in the Smoky Mountain region to the North Georgia mountains, holy cow, it's horrible. It looks like it's yellow rain. All right, so it's dust that was in the air, and that it's a natural phenomena. I don't have that sound effect anymore. I'd play that. All right, so next we'll jump into a little bit of news and get into some entertainment and sports stuff, and then we will finish the end of the last hour. That dog in the corner. Oh, yeah, gotcha. All right. We're going to do a little news here. Incoming Canadian Prime Minister, remember Justin Trudeau resigned, said he is ready to fight with Trump. The Liberal Party chose banker and climate activist Mark Carney to replace Justin Trudeau as Canada's next prime minister during the party's election on Sunday night. Kind of an odd time to hold elections. Carney, who has led the Bank of Canada and Bank of England, easily secured the win by 86% of the vote during the Liberal Party elections. During his speech, he took shots at President Donald Trump and claimed that America wanted to destroy Canada's way of life. America is not Canada, and Canada never ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form, Carney said. We didn't ask for this fight, but Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. It's a hockey reference. Since becoming president, Trump has suggested that Canada could become America's 51st state and leveled a series of tariffs against the country. Canada will not bow down to a bully. We won't stand by as illegal U.S. tariffs hurt our workers and families. As Canadians, we need to face the challenge as a united team, Carney stated. He added that Americans would destroy our way of life if they succeeded in getting our water, our land, our country. That Americans would destroy our way of life. That was his quote, not mine, from the new Canadian Prime Minister, that we're going to destroy their way of life. Okay. Great healthcare system up there, by the way. All right, 5 things to know about Mark Carney, Canada's next Prime Minister. He's a central banker turned politician. He will become the next Prime Minister of Canada after winning Sunday's Liberal Party election with 86% of the vote. He replaces longtime Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who suddenly announced his resignation in January after a decade of service in office, but a sharp decline in approval. Since Trudeau announced his intentions to step down, President Trump has come after Canada with steep tariffs and repeated talk of making it the 51st state, drawing reciprocal tariffs and angering many Canadians. Yes, remember how they took all of our whiskey off their shelf and bourbon? But I think that angered them more than it did us. Some of whom have canceled visit stateside, eschewed American products. Yeah, remember they talked about the Jack Daniels. There's nothing wrong with Jack Daniels. Come on. Unless you've had a tango with it. They've booed the U.S. national anthem at hockey games. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's also seen the Liberal Party surge in recent polls, either tying or suppressing previously dominant Conservative Party led by Pierre Poilievre. This has led to a resurgent nationalism, which is something that we haven't seen in the likes of it a long time in Canada. That has really benefited the Liberal Party, according to their executive director. All right. Well, I guess we will be dealing with Mark Carney in the near future. Good times. Elon Musk calls on the U.S. to quit NATO and stop paying for the defense of Europe. Elon Musk threw his weight behind a U.S. exit from NATO, saying on his social media platform X that it doesn't make sense for America to pay for the defense of Europe. The senior advisor, is what they're calling him, to the United States President, Donald Trump, responded on a post and asserted that we should exit NATO now. We really shouldn't. Hold on, I lost my train of thought there. We really should, the Tesla co-founder and chief executive officer said. He wrote, next is in trouble. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Nationalism, that's a bad thing. I really don't understand why that, even if it's their country and they're patriotic, go Canada. I have no dog in a fight with Canada. I mean, personally, I don't want Canada to become America. I mean, I don't dislike them, but they can do what they do. We do. One thing that some reporters are missing, if you look at the tariffs that have been imposed, look at the tariffs that are imposed upon Americans in America. Most of the time, you will find that the tariffs are higher than what we're imposing upon them. But nationalism is a bad thing. Bedford, Massachusetts I could never say that, right? Never have been able to my entire life. Military court-martial convened on Monday for an Air National Guard member, Jack Teixeira, who was sentenced to 15 years in prison for leaking highly classified military documents after the most consequential national security breach in years. He pled guilty last year to 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of national defense information under the Espionage Act. He faces additional military charges of disobeying orders, obstructing justice, and a court-martial to be held at Hanscom Field. During the prosecution, they've said that he disobeyed order. It was the absolute core of the military. They argued that his attorneys argue that they are prosecuting twice for the same defense. All right, that was a leaker from the Pentagon. He has been court-martialed. Over the weekend, anti-Israel activist was detained by ICE. He had led activities aligned to Hamas, the DHS says. Notice how they call it Trump's DHS. Trump's DHS. This is in the Daily Wire. They're calling it Trump's DHS. Is it not the United States DHS? Department of Homeland Security. I don't see Trump Department of Security. It's the Department of Homeland, America being Homeland, not Trump's. Anyhow, confirmed that they had Muhammad Kahali. He was a student activist who helped lead anti-Israel protests at Columbia last spring. He was detained in New York City over the weekend. On March 9th, in support of President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism in coordination with the Department of State, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested Muhammad Kali, a former Columbia University graduate student. He led activities aligned to Hamas, a designated terrorist organization, according to the DHS spokesperson. She added that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is a part of DHS, and the State Department are committed to enforcing President Trump's executive orders and protecting U.S. national security. Sources said Kali, identified in the press as a lead negotiator for the Gaza Satirical encampment, graduated in December. He was taken into custody overnight by ICE at his university-owned apartment in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Okay, so if he was a graduate, why is he still in the apartment? He was a leader of protests and encampments at the Columbia University for months. He's been arrested and detained and will be probably going out of the country. His attorney that informed him that they were revoked his clients, talking about Khalid, his student visa and green card, and declined to tell his wife, who's 8 months pregnant, the reason for the arrest. We have not been able to get any more details why he's being detained, the attorney told the news outlet. This is a clear escalation. The administration is following through on its threats. A habeas corpus petition has been filed on his behalf, which is basically asking for information from the other side, challenge the validity of his arrest and detention, according to ABC News. Currently, we do not know his precise whereabouts. Under the State Department's catch and revoke effort, first reported by Axios, visas of foreign nationals who appear to be pro-Hamas are canceled. As the State Department spokesperson told the Daily Wire that visa records are confidential under U.S. law and they cannot comment on individual visa cases. But Secretary of State Mark Rubio replied on X to the AP of his arrest, saying, "We will be revoking the visas and or green card of Hamas supporters in America so they can be deported." Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas said in the post on X, "A green card or student visa does not give individuals the right to break our laws, harass our students, and openly sympathize with terrorists. I commend Secretary Rubio for taking swift action in revoking the visas of those involved in the criminal activity." You recall, protests erupted at Columbia University and other institutions after Israel went to war against Hamas in Gaza following the 7 October terrorist attack in 2023, leading reports of harassment and acts of anti-Semitism on campus. The AP noted that when classes resumed in September, Kali told the outlet, as long as the Columbia students continue to invest and benefit from Israel apartheid, the students will continue to resist. Also on Sunday, Columbia University released a statement saying there have been reports of ICE around campus. Columbia has and will continue to follow the law, consistent with our longstanding practice and the practice of the cities and institutions throughout the country. Law enforcement must have judicial warrants in our non-public university areas, including university buildings. Columbia is committed to complying with all legal obligations and supporting our student body and campus community. But he was a graduate. Why was he still there? Said he graduated, according to the article. All right. Moving over to North Korea. For the first time, they have a nuclear-powered submarine. Seoul, South Korea, North Korea has unveiled its first-time nuclear-powered submarine. It's under construction. It's a weapon system that can pose a major security threat to South Korea and U.S. The state media agency reported on Saturday, releasing photos of what is called a nuclear-powered strategic guided missile submarine, and it was reported that Kim Jong-un's Kim had been visiting major shipyards where the warships are built. The Korean Central News Agency didn't provide details on the submarine, but said that Kim was briefed on its construction. It appears to be 6,000-ton class or 7,000-ton class, capable of carrying about 10 missiles. I'm going to have to get an account, apparently, with military.com. All right. In sad news, Harry Potter's Simon Fisher Becker is dead at age 63. He played the Fat Friar in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and he is dead at 63. We recall he memorably played Hufflepuff's house resident ghost, the Fat Friar, in 2001. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has died, according to his manager and husband, Tony Dugdale. Both confirmed March 10th. He was 63. Today, I not only lost a client in Simon Fisher Becker, but a close personal friend of 15 years standing. Barry said in a statement to Metro, "I shall never forget the phone call I made to him when he was offered the part of Dorian Moldovar in Doctor Who." Simon was also a writer, a raconteur, and great public speaker. He helped me out enormously and was kind, gracious, and interested in everyone. He continued, "My condolences go to his husband, Tony, his brothers, nieces, nephews, and his legions of fans." The husband also shared a brief statement on social media confirming his passing. "Hello, everyone. This is Tony Simon's husband," he wrote on Facebook. "I have some very sad news. At 2:50 this afternoon, Simon has passed away. I'll be keeping this account open for a while. I'm not sure at this point if I'll be posting again." The manager alluded to the British actor was also memorably played Dorian Moldovar during seasons 5 and 6 of Doctor Who, starting in 2010. He would go on to reprise the role on the series Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor Chronicles at 18, Doctor Who 11th Doctor Chronicles in 2021. He was also known for playing Tony Zarkley in the 2014 series Puppy Love. Following the news of his death, fans took to social media to honor the longtime actor. A legend of who both in show and community, one person wrote, "I never got to meet him properly, but friends who worked with him have nothing but lovely things to say. He's a real testament to his character." It's incredibly sad to hear the passing. Another fan posted with a photo. "He's an incredible actor and gentleman. Thank you always for your kind words, your friendship, and making the convention circuit." He's talking about the Doctor Who conventions. It was always a great place to be. So there you have that. Age 63, that was breaking news this morning. Harry Potter Simon Fisher Becker has passed away. All right, some more bad news. Love is Blind contestant has ditched the groom at altar for not supporting Black Lives Matter. Love is Blind contestant Sarah Carlton has gone viral for leaving her intended at the altar due to his stance on a variety of social issues, including Black Lives Matter, COVID vaccines, and religion. The popular Netflix series show features single contestants dating and getting engaged in isolated pods without seeing each other, testing whether an emotional connection can become more important than physical attraction before meeting face to face. Carlton advanced the relationship with Ben Mazenga during the current season 8 and made it all the way to the altar before discovering they were incompatible. I love you so much, but I've always wanted to partner to be on the same wavelength. And so today I can't, leaving him at the altar. I know the connection we have is real and my heart is there, but we talked about a lot of things of value I hold so close to my heart. Making this decision, my heart is telling me I can't. She is 28-year-old oncology nurse from Minneapolis, she is a 28-year-old oncology nurse from Minneapolis, where George Floyd's death sparked riots throughout the country in 2020. After leaving the nuptial ceremony, she told her mom and sister why she decided to break it off at the last minute. I remember I asked him about Black Lives Matter, and I'm no expert. When I asked him about it, he was like, I guess I never really give thought to it about much. That affected me, especially our own city. How could it not make you think about something? She said. The Love is Blind contestant went on saying that I asked him what his church views are, and he said he didn't know. I watched a sermon online from his church about sexual identity, and it was traditional. I told that Ben, he doesn't really have much to say about it. I want someone to think about stuff like that. The clip has gone viral on social media with other users sharing mixed review on her reaction. This man just avoided a life misery, one person wrote. Well, it probably saved giving a house away. Is there anything more annoying than a liberal white woman? Conservative commenter Tommy Laren agreed. Well, others stated that it sounds like she made the right decision for both. Marriage isn't just about attraction. If you don't share values, why even bother? Do you want the mother of your children to have an opposing worldview to your own? Guess how the children will see the world to you. Well, all right. So if you're a fan of the Netflix TV show, well, Love is Blind contestant has dumped him at the altar. That's a shame. It's a shame when love goes astray. All right. People magazine, Olivia Culpo is pregnant. Actress and Christian McCaffrey are expecting their first baby. Olivia Culpo and Christian McCaffrey are growing their family. The model, who's 32, the San Francisco 49ers running back, who is 28, are expecting their first baby together. They shared the news in a post on Instagram. The next chapter of motherhood, she wrote alongside of black and white photos from the maternity shoot. She could be seen wearing a flowy dress, kneeling as she placed a hand under her belly in a second photo, turned towards the camera and placed the hand on her hip. All right, so I think, is he not the one from the 49ers that was shot while somebody was trying to rob him? So it's good to see happiness in their lives, and it's good to see that they're going to be having a baby. Yeah, several months before the viral wedding, Miss Universe shared her desire to start immediately trying for children as soon as she married the NFL star. Good for them. They've moved homes. She's decorating with a bit more regard for the unpredictable. So they must have got a house big enough for 3. Her family says she's going to be a loving mother that is going to be very prepared. All right. McAfee probably pulled another hamstring, dropping one in her. He's injury prone. Is he the one that was shot? I think he was the San Francisco 49er that was being robbed and got shot during the robbery because he was detaining the guy. I don't know. Weird things happen when you're a celebrity. And as we continue that, Odell Beckham Jr. and Drewski, I had no idea who Drewski was, have now been named in Sean Diddy Combs' sexual assault lawsuit, and both deny, of course, involvement. Comedian Drewski and NFL player Odell Beckham Jr. have been included in a sexual assault lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. In the latest, and more than 100 have been filed against the embattled rapper. He's been in police custody since September. That's got to be an old number because it was over 100 back before the first of the year. Drewski and Beckham both denied involvement in the 2018 incident, which includes the victim stabbing Diddy I didn't know Diddy was stabbed after he and others violently raped her. Gunshots fired, and in an unclear action, local law enforcement possibly being paid off. This is according to a social media post. This is not, I'm not reporting this as fact. This is from Variety. With Drewski calling it a fabricated lie. The lawsuit filed in California late Friday implicates more than a dozen defendants, including Diddy, Beckham, Drewski, singer-rapper Jaguar Wright, and others, in the assault Ashley Parham and two John Does. Parham alleged that filing in October that she had been drugged, kidnapped, and assaulted by multiple individuals after Diddy heard her saying she believed he was involved in the 1996 murder of Tupac. This amended filing identifies several of the individuals who were allegedly involved. The alleged comment took place over FaceTime between Diddy and the associate Shane Pierce in February 2018, where the assault allegedly took place at one of the defendant's apartments the following month. Okay, so Chris is reporting Ricky Pearsall was the guy shot. He's the rookie receiver. Okay, well, I hope he's doing well too. So make sure. Okay. Okay, nothing there. All right, we'll continue on. Bianca Belair believes her WrestleMania dream match is one that WWE fans want too. Well, this weekend, Bianca enters the Elimination Chamber hoping to earn the WWE Women's World Championship match at WrestleMania 41. At the same time, she hopes to continue forward in her tag team with Naomi during the WWE Elimination Chamber. Blair opened up about the task of balancing these goals, especially in the midst of WrestleMania season. Go away, you silly StreamYard hacker. Bianca wants to prove she's the best bet against Rhea Ripley. I feel like both have the kind of opposite sides of a mountain of racing towards the top. Right now, she has a title, so the perception is that she is the best. Belair continued, my reality is that I'm the best, so I want to go to WrestleMania. I want to prove that I'm going to do everything I can in this Elimination Chamber to make sure. All right. Well, I don't know why that was trending, but it was, so I thought I'd report on it. All right, so we'll hop over to some sporting news. We'll talk about yesterday in college basketball. The polls came out in men's college basketball. Duke is still at the top. My team, Tennessee, is still at number 8 and it's down 4 spots. In Houston, Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, St. John's, Michigan State, Tennessee, and Texas Tech with Clemson are the top 10. There was an upset over the weekend, if you recall. Auburn was defeated. Remember that? That was an upset. All right, so let's see here. Men's college basketball. Nope, go to yesterday. Iowa beat Nebraska. Michigan State over Michigan. Oregon beat Washington. Rutgers over Minnesota. Navy over Bucknell. Furman over Chattanooga. Drake over Bradley. And High Point over Winthrop. Yeah, it was a buzzer beater that beat that Auburn lost to, was it Texas? NASCAR over the weekend, Christopher Bell took the race. We'll have a little bit more news on that. Some highlights in the NBA, the Thunder beat the Nuggets, Cavaliers were over the Bucks. Women's college basketball, man, they were quite busy. UConn beat Villanova, Creighton beat Seton Hall, South Carolina over Texas, UCLA over USC, TCU over Baylor, Duke over North Carolina State, with South Dakota State beating Oral Roberts, UNC Greensburg beating Chattanooga, and James Madison taking Coastal Carolina. That was even close. And let's go into the soccer world because that's very popular. Yesterday, Portsmouth beats Leeds United. Getafe beat Madrid. Chelsea beat Leicester City. It was a final with Tottenham and Burnham. I am horrible with this. They tied. Real Madrid beat Real Vallecano. Manchester United tied with Arsenal. Santos beat Leon. And I know I'm going to get added for this, and I apologize. Inter Cincinnati, Miami beat Charlotte. Atlanta beat Jueves. And St. Louis beat LA. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I know I butchered that, and I'm so sorry. You're going to have to school me, Chris. And please don't at me. But if you do, Sportcat on Twitter, at Sportcat. ESPN is reporting all day on NFL offseason moves. They've really left Seattle in a precarious position. Seattle has lost their quarterback to the Raiders and their star wide receiver to Pittsburgh. So they're kind of in a situation. DK Metcalf was the most recent one. I'm not going to sign in. Was the most recent one with him going from Seattle to Pittsburgh. All right, so that was Sunday night, and that was after his trade request. Well, we know that, good Lord, I'm not going to do this here. We know that Seattle has let Geno go to the Raiders, which I really was kind of shocked at. I thought they were going to probably pick up the backup here in Atlanta. God, season Kirk. I thought they were going to pick him up, but they didn't. So, all right, hopping over to the NHL news, I wanted to highlight this because Alec Ovechkin had his 886th career goal to empty net to seal the Capitals' 4-2 victory over Seattle Kraken on Sunday. He's 9 back from breaking Gretzky's NHL record and helping the Eastern Conference leaders win their 4th game in a row. He backhanded the puck from center ice with a minute 31 left, sending the crowd into jubilation with chants of Ovi Ovi. He is well loved in that town. It was his 8th empty goal net this season, which pushed him ahead of Dallas Stars forward Mikko Rantanen and Tampa forward Brandon Hagel. The NHL lead Ovechkin has also extended for the most empty net goals. 886 for Ovechkin. He's a cool dude, too. If you followed him any when the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, it was funny because he stole the Stanley Cup, took it home, drank beer of it, got drunk and curled up to it in his bed and photographed the whole thing. It was funny as hell. They will open a 3-game trip to California Tuesday night at Anaheim. So keep an eye on that, and we'll see if he can surpass Gretzky, the great one. I think Ovechkin is going to go down in history as probably going to be like Michael Jordan and LeBron. So. All right. Well, apparently ESPN can't be reached. All right. So we were talking about college basketball. We're not going to get into this a whole lot, but a lot of the championships have already been played. The big ones that people are interested in are like the SEC are still ongoing and the ACC. So we will continue to see them for the next few days. So we're marching into March Madness, and it is going to be a great time. And same with women's college basketball. We do have some results for them with the Ohio Valley being taken by Tennessee Tech, the Southern Conference by UNC, Duke in the ACC, shocker. SEC was South Carolina Gamecocks, George Mason, followed by the Summit League with the South Dakota Jackrabbits. Never heard of them. UCLA, the Big Ten was UCLA Bruins, and the Big 12 was TCU Horned Frogs. Big South is High Point Panthers, and the others are continuing to play next week. All right. We'll quickly cover over the weekend. There was 2 officer line of duty deaths. Detective Joseph Ezcone from Newark. He was shot and killed while investigating illegal weapons possession in the corner of Carteret Street in Broadway Friday evening. At 6:37 p.m., Detective Ascona and another officer arrived at the intersection of the street and Broadway to question a subject about possible weapons possession. The subject began firing the officers immediately. Both officers were struck while still in their vehicle. At least 18 gunshots were reported near the White Castle at the intersection. When responding officers arrived, they discovered Ascona and another officer were both wounded. Both officers were transported to University Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. The other officer was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 5 juveniles taken into custody. A 14-year-old who was injured was charged with weapons possession and murder. 14. Sam Darnold just went to the Seahawks, Chris is reporting. Chris, are you also a Bears fan? Just asking for a friend. So the detective was killed in the line of duty over the weekend. And this one, police officer Felicia D. Riley from the St. Paul Department in Minnesota. Was it Minneapolis? Minnesota. She succumbed to injuries that she received after responding to a 911 hang-up. And this was going all the way back to 2010, the 1600 block of Birmingham Street. When she arrived at the home, she was invited inside and was notified that the elderly couple's son was threatening them. As she approached them, he began to attack her. She used her taser to subdue him, but he kept swinging and punching her in the face. Despite being tased, the man punched her again and again. She fell to the floor, where the man proceeded to kick her in the head multiple times. She stood and attempted to subdue the subject, chasing him outside the home. After responding officers helped her restrain the subject, she was transferred to the hospital. In her injuries, she was diagnosed with traumatic brain injury. Throughout the years, she suffered with permanent double vision, chronic migraine headaches, light sensitivity, nausea, and decrease in cognitive functioning, forcing her to retire from the department. She passed away on March 1st from her injuries. The subject was found guilty of assault and sentenced to 8.5 years in prison in 2015. He is unable to be charged with the murder due to the double jeopardy clause in the Fifth Amendment. Officer Riley had served with St. Paul Police Department for 17 years. She is survived by her husband, 3 sons, 2 daughters, sister, and grandchildren. Police officer Felicia D. Riley from the St. Paul Police Department in Minnesota. Chris said he is sadly a Bears fan. Folks, this is a line of duty death from an injury that she sustained years ago. She suffered for years. I wish her and her family well. All right. We'll keep with some police department news here. Do you remember the Girls Gone Wild police officer? The one that was on social media? She's officially landed a new job. The now former police officer from Tennessee made headlines for her admissions on having sexual relations with people at work. Megan Hall, a married police officer in Laverne, Tennessee, admitted to investigators that she acted inappropriately while at work. She admitted that she got stupid and desperate, to having sexual relationships with people at work. She claimed that she was groomed by members of the police department to behave in such a way. Hall ended up leaving the force and reached a $500,000 settlement. No woman should ever have to endure this type of abuse. What happened to me at the Laverne Police Department should never happen to anyone, she stated at the time. But now she has a new job. She's back in the workforce, but this time she is a pharmacy technician, and she is still happily married. There you go. So if you were wondering where she's been, well, check out your local Walgreens in Tennessee. Over the weekend, fire fatalities increased to 16, with Vernon Collette from the Johnson County Fire Protection in Warrensburg, Missouri. He was on a call and suffered a medical emergency and was pronounced deceased at the scene. He was fighting a natural cover fire known as a brush fire. Brush fires can be dangerous. That brings the total for 2025 to 16 firefighters killed in the line of duty. All right, we'll cover some quick firefighting news. We're about to wrap up here, guys. I feel like I've talked too much. One firefighter was injured in a 2-alarm fire in Stratford Place Apartments in Lubbock, Texas. They say there were no civilian casualties, but a firefighter was injured and a pet has died after an early morning fire at the Stratford Place apartment in the 4900 block of 4th Street. Lubbock Fire Department said the call started coming in just before 4 a.m., reporting smoke from the roof of a 2-story structure. Upon arrival, firefighters determined there was a large fire and quickly asked for a second alarm because of heavy smoke coming from the roof. They made entry into the affected units and started evacuations. Firefighters saw an imminent sign of roof collapse. Fire spread quickly due to the shared attic space, and the incident commander declared a second alarm to bring in more aerial operations. The roof collapsed during these rescue efforts because air conditioning units fell through. Don't get me going on that building construction. One firefighter was injured and taken to UMC. He's treated and released. They were able to rescue a cat from the structure, but the pet later died from smoke inhalation. 25 residents have been displaced. American Red Cross is assisting those. Anyone with information, contact the Lubbock Fire Rescue Marshal's office if you can help them out. Should not put 2-ton air conditioner units on top of an apartment building with a shared common attic. That makes no sense. But that's building construction. 2 killed, 10 injured in a Cincinnati fire. A fire broke out in a 3-family home on Summit Avenue and has left 2 people dead and 10 injured, according to local Fox 19. About 1 p.m. on Saturday, Interim Fire Chief Matt Flagler confirmed that firefighters arrived within 4 minutes after receiving the call. They encountered intense flames and several victims attempting to escape the burning structure, some jumping from the building to reach safety. Our firefighters mounted a very aggressive attack to get in there and make sure everybody was accounted for. Despite their efforts, 2 people, a child and an adult, lost their lives. The 10 injured individuals, ranging in age from 3 to their mid-40s, were transported to the hospital. That's from Fox 19 out of Cincinnati. In Los Angeles, a man killed and firefighter injured during a house fire. A man was killed in a house fire near the Manchester Square neighborhood of Los Angeles. Firefighters suffered serious injuries battling the blaze. The fire first broke out Saturday at 6:55 p.m. local on 4th Avenue, a few blocks from Manchester Avenue, according to LA Fire Department spokesman Lindsay Lance. The fire was out in 22 minutes. First arriving companies reported a 1-story single-family dwelling with heavy fire inside 2 rooms. Following reports of person traps, firefighters rescued a single victim. The approximately 50-year-old man was rushed to the hospital in grave condition, where he was later pronounced dead. 33-year-old firefighter suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries battling the blaze. Added, he was taken to the hospital. He was probably injured during the intense heat trying to rescue the individual. 1 firefighter injured in a Richfield house fire in Wisconsin. On March 9th, that was yesterday at 5 p.m., the Washington County Sheriff's Office Center took calls from a homeowner who reported there was smoke in their house and it was coming from their basement on a hill drive in the village of Richfield. Deputies and fire department were subsequently dispatched. Upon arrival, they saw a large amount of smoke coming from the residence, the fire originated in the basement. They quickly upgraded the call to a box level, which is usually 3 engines, 2 ladders, and was assisted by Slinger Jackson Fire and Germantown Fire, Hartford Fire, Newburgh Fire, Merton Fire, Lifestar Ambulance, and Menominee Falls, Allentown, and St. Louis and Cedarburg Fire Departments. The occupants of the residence were able to exit the residence and did not suffer any injuries. The fire was contained mostly to the basement, but 1 firefighter suffered minor injuries, treated on the scene, and it still remains under investigation by the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Fire damaged a Columbus apartment with 1 firefighter injured. In 1300 block of Dublin Road on Sunday afternoon, about 13:25 hours. According to the fire chief, that occurred in a 1 unit on the 2nd floor of the 3-story apartment building, was contained to that unit, but there was no civilian injuries. However, 1 firefighter suffered a minor injury. And where was that? It was in Columbus, Ohio. I'm going to try and get done here real quick because I got a video I would like to share. Firefighter residents injured during weekend house fire south of Warrensburg, and that's in Missouri. 2 residents were injured as a house south of Warrensburg was reduced to rubble. The Johnson County, Missouri Fire Protection District says that it occurred 10:35 a.m. on Sunday. Emergency crews were called to the home at 300 block of Southeast 251st Road with reports of fire. The indicated 2 individuals reported still inside the burning structure. When they arrived, they learned they were both able to make it outside. Meanwhile, crews noted that the home was fully engulfed in flames as it began to attack. 2 firefighters inside the home were injured, and they were quickly able to make it to safety, where they were treated and released at the scene. So basically, what happened was they were trying to put the fire out, and they had to evacuate due to heavy smoke, fire, and heat, and probably got injured on that. This is what we just talked about, wasn't it? Yes. Yes, this is the same fire. Yep, they found it fully engulfed in flames. They were inside and had to make an evacuation. All right. This is in, where is this? This is in Nassau, New York. Massaquoi Park. A 16-year-old boy was arrested for assaulting a police officer in the park just after midnight on Saturday. He was dispatched. Police were dispatched to Lakeshore for a suspicious person who was pulling on car door handles. The 16-year-old, who fit the description, was seen fleeing on foot. Officers attempted to place him under arrest. He began grabbing at his clothing. One officer sustained severe laceration to his hand from a switchblade. The injured officer was taken to a nearby hospital and is in stable condition. The 16-year-old is charged with fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon, aggravated assault on a police officer, second-degree assault on the police. He is expected to be arraigned on Saturday at the youth section division. 16 years old. Cuts a police officer. A Sonora officer was injured in a weekend crash in California Saturday evening about 8 p.m. in the intersection of Motto Way and Greenlee Road. Involved a Sonora Police Department patrol vehicles. The unidentified officer was traveling northbound, responding with lights and sirens to an emergency call for service when the vehicle collided with a Prius. The Prius then hit a Jeep Cherokee. The officer was transported by ambulance to the hospital, and he's being treated with non-life-threatening injuries. Other injuries were minor. CHP is handling the investigation. That's one of the dangers of red lights and sirens. A Raleigh police officer was taken to the hospital following a crash in Wake County on Sunday. The crash involved at least 3 vehicles on 64 and Lizard Road in Zebulon. The officer involved in the crash was taken to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The police department has continued to recover information about the crash. No other details have been released. The officer is in good spirits. Houston, Texas police officers say 2 police officers were injured in a crash on Sunday morning, and they are lucky they don't have any broken bones. 2 North Shepherd Division officers were on Highway 610 North Loop at around 1 a.m. when they were responding to call to assist other officers. They say they came down the 610, attempted to make a U-turn, but missed the mark and struck one of the pillars. At the time, it appeared one of the officers sustained multiple broken bones, but all x-rays came back fine. And police officers, both one man, one woman, were 20 days shy of their first anniversary with the department. Both were taken to Houston hospitals where they underwent treatment. Glad they're okay, but they missed their mark. This is the one in Philadelphia I wanted to talk about. All right, so police are investigating as an officer was hurt when the officer crashed into a suspect on a moped. It occurred in the Port Richmond neighborhood on Sunday, according to the police. About 1:30, an officer was riding a dirt bike and made contact with a suspect on a moped. After the crash, they arrested the rider of the moped at the scene. The officer was taken to a nearby hospital where he said he's treated and released. Philadelphia has gotten very progressive in their department because if you've noticed, there's been a lot of 4-wheelers, 3-wheelers, and motorbikes overtaking cities. And so Philadelphia is one of the first to address it by having a motor unit that is motorbikes and 4-wheelers, ATVs. All right, last article, and then I'm leaving you guys. I'm done. I'm out of here. Enough technical difficulties for today. Bladensburg, Maryland. An officer with the Bladensburg Police Department is a hero after he jumped into action and pulled an injured man out of a burning car. Canine officer Colin Burnett's body cam captured the moments his training kicked in and he dragged the officer to safety. He said, "It feels good to be able to help his people, and I'm so glad the man I pulled from the car is okay." It occurred on February 19th, but they're just now releasing the body cam on Baltimore Washington Parkway in Bladensburg. I was in the 6200 block of Annapolis Road, headed to get some lunch. I rolled up on the car accident. One car was overturned and one was smoking and on fire. So I got out of the car. I ran to the red sedan and the engine was on fire. I opened the door and saw an individual and drug him out. So the injured driver was taken to the hospital for head injuries. He's doing okay and expected to make a full recovery. The victim in the other vehicle suffered only minor injuries. They said that his quick action saved a life. He was just glad to be able to pull the man to safety. All right, so let's see. I think this is the one over here, because this is just the blurred out photos, but I think this news department carried the full body cam. We'll just mute it until they get to the point where the full body cam shows the arrest. Yeah, the scene was quite horrific, but the canine officer managed to pull the guy out. You see here, he's running up to the vehicle, and as he said, he saw the man in there. It was burning, and he pulled him out. I was hoping they were going to show more body cam of that. And here's the complete body cam. All right, well, no, it's not. I'll have to Google it and try and find the full body camera, but he's a hero. He pulled the guy to safety, so good for him. You think I've talked enough today? I'm sad. I feel like I talked too much. Everybody, I appreciate you following me. You can come over to YouTube and find me under the Sportcat shows. I have several shows, including one tonight, Monday Night Horrors, which will be Cheyenne and Amanda. I have that one on Monday night. Wednesday night, I have the Paranormal Guys, and that's the name of the channel, ironically. 3 words, guys with a Z. Come over and find us, like, follow, share, and subscribe. And you can catch up with all of us if you hit that notification bell. It helps if you hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate it. And you can also catch me on the Thin Line Rock Station Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon till 2, playing records. That's Eastern Standard Time. And then we also have a Sunday night football show that is covering the upcoming UFL football season. So we're looking forward to that. It's 10 weeks of summer, or is it spring football? So that should be exciting. So that's pretty much all the news I have and where you can find me. If you want to shoot me a message, you can go to sportcat@protonmail.com and send me an email. And you can go over to speakpipe.com/sportcat and shoot me a voice message. I'll be glad to play it on the air. Comments, kudos, whatever. Even if you got something bad to say, I'll play it. I ain't scared. Or if you have a request for the radio station, I'll be happy to play that as well. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. And hopefully this Wednesday night, we have 2 great authors lined up on the Paranormal Guys. Our local time, Eastern, is 9 p.m. Eastern till 11. You can find me, Cheyenne, and Amanda interviewing them, and that's always a good time. So, unless anybody has any questions, comments, queries, or whatever, I'm going to let you guys go. But I appreciate Radio X for allowing me the extra hour. And I'm going to be honing to try and do other things, but I want to continue to try and cover events both in the States and some in Australia. Plus, I like to keep up on the public safety events as I'm a retired paramedic firefighter. So you can send me any comments you have, either through Ross. He can get him on yurgsradio.com, which we're also carried live on, or you can shoot me the message. Either way, it'll get to me, and you can tell me if you want to see any changes to the show or if you want to see anything different. So everybody have a great day. Good morning, good night, good evening to wherever you are in your part of the world. And I hope that you come back tonight, Monday night, and check us out with the Monday Night Horrors. It's our first show for Cheyenne. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just producing it. I'll be behind the scenes pushing buttons, so you won't have to hear me talk. So everybody, I appreciate your support. Have a great day. I will see you soon. Sportcat is out. Let me hit the outgoing theme song. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.